Don't let it fool you.
It's fake spring today. Luckily, our apple trees have already flowered and fallen off, so hopefully they'll be okay. Same with our peach trees.
Hey y'all. Okay. I'm out here in my greenhouse and it is a beautiful sunny day. Or so it seems. We are about to get hit with what looks to be our official last frost. Our last frost date isn't until May 1st, but all of the locals will tell you don't plant until around Mother's Day or later. I tend to follow that. I feel like farmers who are born and raised here know better than anybody else. So I listen to them. I do have things out in the field though. They are all cold hardy, can handle a little bit of frost. So I'm pretty confident that everything I have planted out already is going to survive. It's about 48, 49 degrees Fahrenheit outside. It is windy. I had planned on doing a garden tour video, but it's just too windy, so I'm going to save that for this weekend when it warms up a little bit. After today, our 10-day forecast looks fantastic, so hopefully this really is the last of it. Alright, in a few videos ago, I had showed myself rescuing an elderberry plant that had fallen over and broken. I stuck it in the pond. I literally can't find it anywhere, which means my dear sweet husband in all his, raking and burning and weed whacking, mowing activities probably destroyed it. So rest in peace, little elderberry. But I have this other guy that I've been saving, and I am going to show you how to multiply your elderberry if you have established elderberry plants on your property. If you don't have established elderberry plants on your property, you can buy clippings, you can buy started plants. You just, with anything, need to make sure that you can grow them where you live. We have American elderberry that grows wild here, and it grows everywhere. I'll take you down there and show you. I have tons of plants on my property. Like, it's crazy. Now, if I can only get to the berries before the birds do, that would be key. Last year, I made some side money propagating and potting up and selling plant starts. But I have a friend that's in school to be an herbalist, and she wants some elderberry clippings, so I'm going to clip those up, and I told her I would also dig up some babies and bring them to her as well. So I'm going to take you through and show you how I do this. This is not super difficult. It's easy to research and learn how to do this yourself, and it's very inexpensive, especially if you already have access to elderberry. So here's what you do. Here's the very top. Here's the very top of it. Now there's these two knobs. This is where little shoots would come out. There's another two. And what you want is 2 on each. You want 2 full ones with a good amount, like an inch or 2 above the top one. So 1, 2. And then what you're going to do is cut right below it at an angle. There you go. That's literally all you do. Next, you're going to take a jar of water and stick it in there. I'm not going to do this because I'm giving this to a friend. Within a week or 2, you will have roots. I wait until I get a good little root ball established, and then I pot it up. Now, I have tried putting you can buy stuff that's like a root. It speeds up developing roots. It's a powder, and you dip it in. And you can dip it in that powder and stick it right in the dirt. I've tried doing that, and I didn't have the best of luck. I felt like it wasn't really even worth it. The best thing I've had is sticking them in the water and letting them just root that way. change out the water every, you know, when you see it kind of getting a little murky, change out the water. But the cool thing is, it does not matter how thick your clipping is. It could be this thick, it could be this thick, it does not matter. When you stick that established clipping with the roots on it in the dirt, that plant is going to be as old on this one as it is a thick one, because the leaves are growing and the roots are being established and all of that. So people would get a little deceived because they see a little tiny stick sticking out with the green, and then they'd see a bigger stick with a little bit of green. They think the bigger stick one's a bigger plant, and that's not necessarily the case. So it's really easy, really not complicated. This is the most economical and inexpensive way to get elderberry, especially if you're wanting to make syrups and tinctures and jams and jellies. This is the way to do it, for sure. Especially if you have access to it. I didn't realize I would live in a place that would have access to elderberry. It absolutely blew my mind. Now this one is going to be a little on the short side, but I think it will still grow. And if it doesn't grow, what do you have to lose, right? This one is not ideal because it only has one notch. So I'm just going to get rid of that. I like to start from the top of the plant and work my way down, because you want the tip to be at the bottom, the angled tip. Cut that off. So there's one. This one's going to be kind of cutting it short, so I won't. 1, 2. So I'll just do like this on this one. All right, now that we've got all those, I'm going to start from the top. 1, 2, cut your angle. 1, 2, cut your angle, and as it gets obviously a little thicker, it gets a little harder. And then I just kind of top off the top, because you really don't need it that long. And then 1, 2, and then I'll cut the angle off down here. And then we'll top it off. So this one, see how it looks bigger? And this one will be the exact same maturity of a plant when it starts to grow. Don't let it fool you. If you receive something that looks like this versus something that looks like this, it's all going to grow a plant. So those are going to go to my friend. I'm going to give her these so she can root and propagate. I might keep a few just to do myself. I have tons growing over here by the greenhouse in the garden, but I really want to put some up behind the house. I want to be able to harvest just the flowers off of some. The flowers make really good tea. They also make really good syrups, and they smell, and they're just amazing. And then also harvest some for the berries. I have seen that there's ways to harvest the flowers without taking the berries as well. So that's always something to look into. But if I did it wrong, at least I would still have enough to be able to harvest the berries off of other plants. Because one can never have too much elderberry. Am I right? Honestly, I can't blame my husband. It's my fault. I tease him and I joke about his mowing and all of that, but I should have put it in the greenhouse. I shouldn't have left it somewhere where he was going to, you know, be raking and burning and all those things. So I take full responsibility for my elderberry neglect. Sorry for the wind. This is one patch of elderberry that we have here.
These are all greening up and growing so well. And if you look around them, like right here, there's a twig. So this one right here would be an example of what it will look like when it starts to develop. So it'll, when it's being rooted or growing in the soil, it'll send off little shoots like this, and you'll have like the old twig. So this is a good example of what it will look like as it starts to grow off of that twig you have. All right, here's a little baby that I'm gonna dig up right here. Beautiful azalea. It's growing on. Oh my word. I have never seen this before. This is concerning. What is that? Oh, those are black bugs. Are they aphids? Because there's ants on it too. I hope, oh my word, it's all over it. That I'm gonna have to tell here. Look at that. You can see it right there. Oh no! Big patch, but it is covered in bugs. Look at that. That is unfortunate. I really hope this frost kills those off, because that is not good. Not good at all. I'm gonna have to do some research and figure that one out, because they've got to go. This is perfect. So when you're soaking your elderberry, like I showed you earlier, see how those roots are growing? That's what it'll do in the jar, and it'll send up little sprouts. That's when you can plant it. So that gives you a good visual as to what I'm talking about. I will pot that up for her, and it will grow into a beautiful elderberry plant. I have my two little plants here, like I just showed you before. When I pulled this one out of the creek, it had some roots sticking out, and it's got little sprouts on it, which is good. Let's break that off. This is what it will look like when it starts to root, when you put it in the water. It will develop these roots, and it'll send off little sprouts. So that's good. About this time, you can go ahead and pot it up, and you can put it in some potting soil and let that establish a little bit more before you go ahead and plant it. This one, you can see the roots are really thick and established on this one because I dug it up out of the ground. But this one was growing really well too. So I will pot both of these up and give them to her in a little bit of potting soil. I won't go too crazy. In fact, I'll put them in their own little pots so they can get some roots established. And then she can plant them. Now, I've really only seen them grow around creeks or wet places. That's where they prefer to grow and live. Oh, hey, little guy. Little earthworm in that. You can go live right in there. They like a wet environment. So I'm not saying you couldn't grow them other places. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying around here where I live, that's where I find them. And that's where I find them to grow best. So when I'm moving them around or propagating to plant, I always try to plant them near a water source. So I've got my pot and I'm just going to stick this down in there and try not to break those roots off. And then there we go. There's one. And there's two. Aren't they cute? All right. Well, I am off to go warm up because it's ridiculous outside. I told Aaron earlier, I said, this weather is making me cranky. I don't like that it was warm a few days. You know, it's been warm for weeks and now here it is. We're worried about frost. I'm worried about everything in the greenhouse again. But I went ahead and closed all the vents. Everything should be okay. It's in the 40s right now. It's 60 degrees right now. I'm hoping just this one night of in the 20s will not be enough to harm all my tomatoes and peppers because they're growing so good. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this elderberry video helpful. I hope you're able to grow some on your property wherever you are, no matter where you live or how big or how small it is. Elderberry is a powerhouse. It is great to have on hand. If you are not able to grow your own elderberry, find someone local that is. Find someone that is able to source the berries local or source a good quality berry and is making the syrup themselves, and go out and support their small business. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for stopping by the farm, and I will see you on the next video.